An American billionaire has opened his checkbook to the tune of $1 million to help protect gorillas and chimpanzees in Africa. Joining us with the details is our anchor at large, Ndimyake Mwakalyelye. Hello, Ndimi.
Hello and thank you, Vincent. Well, yes, great news today for Africa's endangered gorillas and one of its biggest advocates. Well, the Jane Goodall Institute will receive $1 million from Microsoft co-founder Paul Allen's foundation to help save gorillas. The money, part of a nearly $7 million grant for scientific research, will support great ape conservation in the Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo. In particular, Grauer's gorillas under the threat due to area conflict and poaching. There are reportedly less than 5,000 remaining. And now to tell us more is Richard Carroll, Vice President for Africa for the World Wildlife Fund. And Dr. Carroll oversees conservation efforts in the Congo Basin, the world's second largest expanse of intact rainforest. He joins us via Skype from North Carolina, and we say welcome to the show, Dr. Carroll.
Well, thank you so much for having me.
So
it's such a powerful... Oh, go ahead.
I'm sorry, I interjected there for a second. Well, obviously the money is going to the Jane Goodall Foundation, but I know for conservationists overall, this is very good news, especially for the target area, right?
It's extremely good news. And it's such a powerful situation when icons like Paul Allen and Jane Goodall can unite for action for conservation of this endangered species. They're both real heroes, especially Paul Allen for his philanthropy and giving his fortune away for the good of the world, and Jane for a great inspiration.
Mm-hmm. Tell us a little bit about the subspecies of the gorillas that are particularly under threat in this case. The Grauer's gorilla
is the largest of the 4 subspecies of gorillas, and it's actually the largest primate in the world, extremely endangered by the civil war that's been happening in the Eastern DRC since 1996. Rebel groups hiding in these forests, and now with mining for gold and coltan has disrupted the habitat, and even extending into the Virunga National Park, where we, WWF, in collaboration with Jane Goodall and others, are mounting a campaign to keep oil out of gorilla habitat.
Now, of course, we've been hearing about conservation efforts and efforts to save these gorillas, not just the Grauers, but all gorillas and all other wildlife in that area. How will this kind of grant help? How is it different in terms of other efforts?
This is a very important grant because it helps to provide a complete survey of this endangered subspecies of gorillas. We have very little data on the distribution, and we know that there's been a 50 to 80% decline in Grauer's gorillas, and that they exist in very isolated populations in a few parks and reserves in the area. So it's very important that we redo the survey with the collaboration of communities using the best technology available as far as handheld GPS devices for recording the signs. And we devise a conservation strategy for the subspecies that includes corridors and core areas.
I see. Now, in giving this particular grant to the Jane Goodall Institute, the foundation, the Paul Allen Foundation, at least noted that wildlife conservation projects in Africa will be a major initiative. Now, you're very familiar with conservation efforts there. Can you interpret for us what that means?
Well, we have many endangered species throughout Africa, and we need all the efforts and the great support of people like Paul Allen to achieve our goals of conservation. We're losing great apes very quickly. All great apes are critically endangered across Africa, from the western lowland gorillas across the Congo Basin to the mountain gorillas and Grauer's gorillas. Elephants, we're losing 20 to 30,000 elephants per year right now. It's a disaster situation that we have to control the bleeding of African wildlife, or we won't have these species in a decade's time.
Are you able to give us? Are you able to give us in very few seconds, just a general sense of how many gorillas are still in that area at this point?
Well, the estimates are as low as 2,000 and up to 5,000 Browers gorillas, and only several hundred, about 700 mountain gorillas, just perched on the mountains in the Virunga chain. So these two subspecies of eastern gorilla are highly endangered. Western lowland gorillas are more stable but highly endangered across the Congo Basin due to poaching, bushmeat trade, and the Ebola virus that is hitting these animals very hard.
Well, thank you so much, Dr. Carroll. Dr. Richard Carroll is Vice President for Africa at the World Wildlife Fund, and he joined us by Skype from North Carolina.